I call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Tennessee Real Estate Appraiser Commission. Why don't we start off by having a roll call, and we'll start to my right.
Rosie Johnson, Paris.
Mark Johnstone, Jackson, Tennessee.
Tim Walton, Collierville, Tennessee.
Randall Thomas, Kingsport, Tennessee.
Fred McCara, Johnson City, Tennessee.
All right, see, we do have a quorum today. This regularly scheduled commission meeting is taking place in the first floor conference room 1A of the David Crockett Tower, 500 James Robertson Parkway, Nashville, Tennessee. Notice of this meeting was posted on the TREAC website. Let's see, what date was that posted, Nicole?
It was posted September 11th. It was posted September 11th, 2015.
September 11th, 2015. All right. Copies of the minutes of the previous meeting have been distributed. Instead of having the director read the minutes, we can have copies distributed for your review. Is there anyone who would like a copy?
They're on your iPads?
Yeah.
They're on iPads.
What are they under?
In other words, where are we on our
Just click
iPads?
on minutes, and it'll take you straight to the minutes on your iPad.
From the home page, where do we go?
From the agenda.
No, where are they when you
Oh,
open?
okay,
I'm sorry.
right here. What do we
they're on
click
the
first?
iBooks. Click on your
iBooks, okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I thought they were already up on your iPads.
Mm-hmm.
His library is empty. You can have mine too if you want it.
No, it's just, we just had a bad sync on that one.
There's no reason to panic, right? That's what you want. A wing, don't worry. The landing gear isn't working.
My favorite today.
Oh, thank you.
I'm okay,
Everybody's on the same page now?
literally.
Also in those documents that we generally all received prior to the meeting, there was the agenda for the meeting. Do we have a motion to adopt?
I'd move that we adopt the agenda for the September 21st, 2015 Tennessee Real Estate Appraiser Commission
Second.
meeting.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries. Let's see. Upon reviewing the minutes from the previous meeting, are there any additions or changes anyone would like to make? Hearing none, do we have a motion to adopt the minutes from the meeting previous?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt the minutes from the last meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? And the meetings from the last minute are adopted. All right, I think we're ready now to hear the report from the Education Committee.
The Education Committee proposes 7 courses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2 individual course proposals for approval by the commission.
Do we need to have a breakdown on any of those, or do we want to just adopt them?
They're all the course proposals are continuing education, including the individual course proposals are all continuing education.
Okay, and we have all those on our iPads.
Yes.
All right, we've got the recommendation from the education representative. Do we have a motion to adopt?
Motion, so moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the education report is accepted. We've also got the experience interviews that were conducted this morning. And
Just tap on the table of contents on the agenda. It'll take you straight to the experience interview page.
all right. First on the agenda, it looks like Commissioner Johnstone.
Yes, I had the opportunity to interview Thad Collins, and he was knowledgeable, and I would recommend approval of his experience.
What was his name again?
Thad Jones.
Thad Jones. Okay, thank you.
All right, we have Commissioner Johnstone's recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, and the motion carries to approve the experience of Thaddeus Jones. I believe next was Ben William Shanks Jr.
Yes.
Going from,
Had the opportunity to interview Mr. Shanks, and he was very knowledgeable. Would recommend approval of his experience, and also he spoke kindly of Dr. McCara down there. Apparently,
Really?
he was one of his teachers.
How about that? That in itself is an event, and I want to make sure that is in the minutes. Okay.
He was
All
a
right.
East Tennessee
Former student
graduate.
spoke kindly of me.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. I'll order that in a
For the-
minute.
For the record.
That in itself is worth a no vote.
You may have to recuse yourself for a conflict there.
I question the sanity of this particular applicant.
all right, we've got the recommendation. Do we have a motion? Looking at you, Dr. McCara.
I definitely move to approve.
And a second? All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? And the motion carries.
Bet the audience didn't think these meetings would be so much fun, did you?
I had the privilege of interviewing Stephen Lee Hilgendorf. He is going from trainee to certified residential. I found his reports to be some of the best that I've seen since I've been on the commission. Looked very good. Even found a few takeaways I want to add to my reports in there. So I would recommend approval of his experience to upgrade to CR.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries. Next, we have Wesley Lucas Butler, was interviewed by Commissioner Thomas.
Although it doesn't require a vote, it was a 500-hour experience. Mr. Lucas is apparently very well informed on what he's doing, and when the time comes for a vote, I feel certain he'll pass with no problems.
All right, good. Next is Brittany Elaine Carden.
I had a chance to interview Ms. Carden. She has been a trainee for 5 years. Very well informed as to what she's doing. I like you, Mr. Chair. She told me some things that I thought, I kind of like those myself. So I would certainly recommend she go from trainee to certified residential.
All right, we have the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. All right, now I'm going to turn the meeting over to the director to read her correspondence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The director's report today is very brief. I've included for your review our budget information, which has been updated through June 30th. It shows that we are on track for our expenditures and revenue. To date, as of June 30th, we had $627,687 in revenue and $290,920 in expenditures. That did not include the cost backs yet, so we will have some additional expenditures in that. We have 820 certified general appraisers, 958 certified residential, 115 licensed appraisers, 195 registered trainees. To date, this is the best complaint performance report we have had. So Keeling is owed a very good kudos on this. We got and Jenica, because she's definitely Keeling's right hand. We are at 100% on our complaint performance for complaints being on time with the performance standards. So good job, complaint team there. I have no legislative updates this month, although we did just go through our rulemaking meetings with the GovOps, and that went through with no problems. So the rules that you had back in January, the rulemaking hearing, those rules are through. So they're just going to the Secretary of State's site now to get posted. The new licensing system went live as of September 9th, 2015. There's some minor issues that we're working out, but people can renew online now. They can upload their continuing education. So in the next couple of months, we're hoping all of the minor issues that we're having with the system will work out, and that's for all of commerce and insurance. The board has a new website. If you haven't had a chance yet to check it out, please do so. And the final thing is a licensee, or I should say a previous licensee, Miss Elizabeth Sharp, has written a letter to the commission, and I indicated I would present it to you. I informed her that her license expired and is not eligible for renewal because she's beyond the grace period to renew her license. And the following letter, the letter is following this report. I also included the reason I told her it was beyond the licensing. Rule 1255.01.12 reads, a license or certificate expiration, a license shall expire 2 years following the date of issuance. The term of it shall be 2 years from the date of issuance, and no other notice shall be required to be given to its holder. Rule 0.11, the license and certificate renewal. If a license or certificate holder fails to renew his or her license prior to the expiration thereof, the license or certificate holder may, upon payment of a $100 late penalty, apply for the renewal. No late renewal will be granted if over 6 months have passed since the expiration of a license or certificate. She's 2 years past her expiration. And I won't read her whole letter to you, but if you would just click on your director's report and read the letter, take a moment, and I will give her whatever feedback you charged me to.
You sent this letter to us, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it looked awful familiar, yeah.
What does she have to do if she wants to be relicensed? Does she have to go through?
Fortunately, she has to register as a trainee.
Wow. Formerly licensed appraisers?
I've tried to, it's happened to other people before. And the pre-2008 requirements were a little bit loopholey, to use a non-word.
Coin a word.
Figured Keely gave you that. It's a legal term.
One requirement in the rules that they couldn't get around was that it said that they couldn't, the three initial courses, principles, procedures, and use patterns, had to take those three courses, and they could not be older than 5 years, and that's still true. So, to register, you'll have to retake those. And really, if you've even been an appraiser for a little while, you're going to have to retake those. It doesn't say how old the other courses could be. So that's why I called it loopholey. Because your other classes could have been significantly older, and once you're registered, you could have then reapplied to upgrade almost immediately and use your old education or your old education experience. However, since 2015, the education requirements are very specific, and since she was an appraiser from a very long time ago, chances are the education she took will not meet the current requirements to. So, probably she's going to have to retake all of her education. Her experience would probably still qualify if she hasn't shredded it or in some way other destroyed it.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Johnson.
Question for Dr. McCara. If you looked at the experience that this individual has, or not the experience, but the courses that they took, could you determine whether or not it met any of the criteria for the new education? I mean, you would have that latitude to be able to say, I think this meets it or it doesn't meet it. Is that?
That sounds reasonable. I'd want to, of course, consult with Nicole on that to make sure that I'm not going, past my beyond my authority on here. But I think at least as a minimum, things like the updated use PAP and some of the other fundamental things.
Well,
would
it
be
seems to
required.
me they're going to need to take use PAP anyway. That's
Exactly.
going to be taken every 2 years. I mean, so
Right.
that's not really an undue burden there. From the experience standpoint, I know the records. Y'all keep the records of when people apply for their licensing, because I've seen records from 05 and 04 where a trainee has put what their experience was. So would we not have that scanned somewhere?
I would have their log, but she won't probably have her report.
Oh, yeah, she would never, yeah. But the log, we would have, the log would be available is what
I
I'm
would,
asking.
I would think that an experience report would be something that would be necessary. That process, I think, would be important. The skills, how long had she been a practicing appraiser? And at what level was she?
She was an appraiser since 2001, and then she let it expire in 2012.
What was she? Was she certified general or residential or?
She was certified residential.
I have a question. She says, I'm currently undergoing a career change again. Does that mean she's coming to or going from an appraiser? And then I want to know what happened to her between 12 and 15. I mean, do we know anything?
She let her license expire. She wanted to do something else, and then all of a sudden she decided to come back and.
Well, I think it's important that we have some fairly high standards for, to keep this from being a revolving door.
Exactly.
Gee, I think I want to be an appraiser for a while. I mean, that takes a lot of effort to get qualified to be an appraiser.
To Mr. Johnstone's point, as far as the education to submit to Dr. McCara, I would be exceptional. I mean,
Oh, she- I mean,
I wouldn't care about asking her for it, but I would be shocked if she
Yeah.
had it.
I don't, yeah, I guess it would depend on the education provider. I mean, I've got transcripts of all of mine. I can go online and print out everything that I've ever taken since I've been an appraiser.
That's great, but I will just say, you know,
You may not.
she may not.
Well, I mean, you know, and something, if I recall reading her letter, she wanted to put her license into retirement. Was that right? When she left the profession, or did she not? She didn't do anything. She just let it expire.
Oh, she didn't put it in inactive. Maybe I misread. I thought she
That's what I
said
thought
she
it
put it
said.
in active.
Well, I think she paid $25 to go inactive, but then never renewed it.
Didn't renew the inactive. But she said she didn't receive correspondence on the renewal, which,
But, I mean, the regulation that Ms. Avers read us said that, you know, there's no further communication. Again, you have to, like Commissioner Randy said here, you know what the rules and regulations are. She did not respond to that, and 2 years later, she said, "Oh, I made a mistake. I'd like to be an appraiser again." So I'm not sure what is there a precedent for this? Do you know?
It happened to other people.
And what steps did they
had to
take?
go back and do it. Previously, like I said, they had that option of using their old education to upgrade once they'd taken that 3 initials, but now it's kind of a higher hurdle because of the. I really tried to help her. Certainly, as soon as she registers as a trainee, she has the ability to try to apply to upgrade. It's just, she's going to have to meet.
Given the new requirements and the new regulations, I would be very reluctant to just say, well, you know, she took these courses X number of years ago. How much could they have changed? I'd rather, you know, make this a case where we say follow the rules, and if you don't want to follow the rules, then don't be an appraiser. So I would place for people who want to be an appraiser.
All right, we've heard discussion on it. Is there any more? Does anyone else have something they'd like to say on this issue? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we instruct Nicole to inform Ms. Sharp that she has to start as a trainee just like everyone else. But she can apply, like you said, just almost instantly to move up, but that would be my motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. All right, I believe at this point we're ready for the legal report.
Report. It's kind of lengthy, so let's just all hang in there and stay calm. If you have any questions, just stop me along the way. If there's something in particular that you don't really want me to read all of it, just let me know. Item number 1, 2015008121. This complaint was filed by a real estate agent and alleged that respondent undervalued a residential property by noting no updates have been completed for 15 years. The complaint also alleged that respondent was evaluating on an as-is basis. The complainant alleged that respondent told her that she could not add the roof replacement of $9,000 because every home needs a roof, and that's not an upgrade. However, complainant stated that the National Association of Realtors has a property report where a realtor can redefine the value of a home based on certain improvements, and a roof replacement is on that redefined list, as is kitchen and bath remodel, window, etc. Respondent sent a response stating that the listing agent met her at the property and handed her a packet of sales she considered comparable and a list of upgrades. After the report was delivered, respondent stated she received a phone call from the agent who was very angry and attempted to coerce her into raising the value. Respondent stated she did not discuss the appraisal but did inform her that the sales she provided at the inspection were addressed in the report. The agent then suggested that respondent make an adjustment as the seller paid for a new roof and HVAC system out of their own pocket. Respondent stated she told the agent that every house had to have a roof and that all comparables used had a similar feature. Respondent stated the sales the agent used all sold for $102 per square foot, and 2 of the sales were significantly smaller. The other sale was renovated and in far superior condition. Therefore, it wasn't comparable. Respondent stated she went back 5 years to analyze the subject's market. Respondent stated that an agent attempting to coerce an appraiser into predetermined value is unethical and unprofessional. I've listed the reviewer's conclusions there. They're pretty lengthy. And also the respondent's response to those conclusions, which are also lengthy. So if you want to take a minute to look over those and just let me know when you're ready for the recommendation.
All right, has everyone had time to read through this case? So, do I have a recommendation?
Respondent's been a certified residential appraiser for over 14 years with no prior disciplinary action. The reviewer noted that while the appraisal results have not been conveyed in an appropriate manner, the report does contain sufficient information to indicate the appraiser does have an understanding of the appraisal process. As such, council recommends the matter be closed with a letter of caution regarding future appraisals.
All right, I'll open the floor for discussion.
Make a motion, we accept council's recommendation.
All right, we've got a motion and a second to accept council's recommendation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 2, 2015008771. This complaint was filed by an appraisal management company and alleged that respondent failed to provide detailed commentary regarding the renovation and remodeling of the subject property. 4 closed sales and 2 listings were utilized, however, required across-the-board adjustments for location. 2 field reviews were ordered, both of which determined that the sales utilized are located in superior markets when more proximate sales considered more appropriate for comparison to the subject were identified. Complainant stated that respondent continues, to defend his comp selection, stating sales were selected to bracket the subject's contemporary design and that location site adjustments address the location differences. However, 2 reviewers indicate these sales to be superior in location and quality to the subject. Respondent sent a response stating that not including additional commentary describing the renovations, remodeling, or quality of construction and amenities was an oversight. The appraisal software respondent used automatically moves text from the field to the addendum when the amount of text exceeds the space allotted for the field. As respondent was typing this section, the text was moved to the addendum. As respondent edited the text, it was able to fit into the field, but the software does not automatically move the text back. A copy and paste did not get all of the text, which left out the commentary that was needed. Respondent states he does not feel that neglecting this information is a pattern in his reports, and that the overwhelming majority of his reports meet or exceed the requirement. Respondent stated that the alternate sales chosen based on proximity are located in close proximity to comparable 3 and 4, which were discredited based on location. According to the map, the alternate sales are in the same general area as comparables 3 and 4. Are listed there. We didn't get a response from the respondent to the reviewer's conclusions, so just take a minute to look at those.
All right, has everyone had a chance to read over this case? All right. Ms. Gamber, would you like to read your recommendation?
The reviewer found multiple USPAP deficiencies within respondent's report. Respondent did not respond to the notice of violations. As such, council recommends the authorization of a civil penalty in the amount of $500 to be satisfied within 30 days of execution of the order, and a 15-hour USPAP course and a 15-hour residential report writing course to be completed within 180 days of execution of the order, such terms to be settled by consent order or formal hearing.
All right, do we Have a motion or discussion on this case?
Is the problem in this particular case that the appraiser didn't know what the rules are? In other words, taking the additional coursework, or was it a software issue? It almost kind of reminds me of the 21st century version of the dog ate my homework. The wrong place, or is that even the principal problem that the reviewer noticed in this report?
Well, I think in my opinion, if you buy into what the appraiser's saying, it's still negligence. Then he should have read the report a little closer to make sure where the report, that the comments were complete. He's responsible for what's in the report.
I have a question.
Yes. Commissioner Thomas.
Just for a point of clarity from my brain, how come you recommended 15-hour use pattern instead of the 7?
7-hour course only teaches what changes in USPAP. The 15-hour goes over all of the principles of USPAP and is a tested course.
Accept council's recommendation.
Do we have any second or any further discussion? Is there a second?
All of that, I missed the motion in the second, and I have to take the
Sorry, I
minutes.
was
All right, we've
I'm
got
sorry,
a
I
motion
moved-
from Dr.
I moved
McCara
to approve the council's recommendation.
We don't have a second yet.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? And the motion carries.
I'm sorry.
Just a quick
Sure.
question. Is that, when he or she did not respond to the violations, do we notify them one time?
So what happens is, once they have the opportunity to respond to the allegations in the initial complaint, those come back to us. And then we send the appraisal report to the reviewer. Once the reviewer gets his conclusions back, I send the reviewer's conclusions out again. So it's actually 2 chances they get to. And for whatever reason, the respondent just chose not to respond to the
Second one.
to the second.
How
He
much
did
time
respond to the complaint,
Right.
but not to the reviewer's
Okay.
conclusions.
How much time do they have to respond to when you send out the reviewer's recommendation?
Well, we give them 10 days on the letter to respond, and we do it certified so we know when they receive it, 10 days from receipt. This particular letter, though, went out July 7th, so. And to be honest, if they were to happen to get it in prior to the meeting, probably just go ahead and include it. We off unless the meeting has already happened and we don't have anything from them. The 10 days is really just to try to expedite the process because we try to have meetings every month, so. But sometimes it's more than that.
All right, I think we're ready for item number 3.
Did we vote on this?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Item 3, 2015-009241. This complaint was filed by a consumer and alleged that respondent incompetently performed an appraisal and prejudged the property, resulting in an undervaluation. The complainant also alleged several misreported property characteristics. Complainant stated that respondent appraised the parcel to 5 comparable parcels. However, only one of the parcels was within the range of the subject. The complaint also stated that complainant's realtor performed a comparable market analysis on the subject parcel. The realtor came to the conclusion that the subject home price range is worth $215,000 to $225,000 due to the sold comparable parcels in the last 6 months. The complainant also stated that attic access is incorrect on the report. Complainant stated he has a walk-in attic with a door, not stairs. Respondent filed a response stating the attic access on the report indicates that the attic has stairs and a floor. There is not an option that says walk-in attic with a door. The other options available on the form do not describe the attic in this home. With regard to the allegation of undervaluing the subject property, respondent stated that the comparable referred to in the complaint is in the subject property's complex, and it was used as a listing. The reason it was not used as a comparable is that as of the date of the appraisal, property had not closed. In respondent's opinion, the comparable sales used were most reflective of value as of the date of the appraisal. The reviewer's conclusions and the response to those are listed there. These are a little bit shorter, so just take a little bit and let me know when you're ready.
All right, has everyone had a chance to read the facts in this case? All right, Ms. Gamber, I think we're ready for your recommendation.
Council recommends the matter be closed with a letter of caution regarding the 2 allegations made by the reviewer in this matter.
All right, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson. Is there a second? All right, a second by Dr. McCara. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 4, 2015009561. Complaint was filed by a consumer real estate agent and alleged that respondent changed the value opinion to $125,000, undervalued the subject property per the lender request after he appraised the property with a value of $140,000. Respondent sent a response to the complaint stating the original report had an appraised value of $140,000. Revised report number 1 was completed to respond to the lender asking respondent to add comments on prior sale of subject and list what improvements have been made since that purchase. Respondent was also asked to provide 1 additional comparable under 1,000 square feet in order to support the appraised value. Revised report number 2 was completed to respond to the lender to review the following properties that the FNMA collateral underwriter had pulled. Respondent considered these properties to be comparable to the subject and added them to the report. Time adjustments were made to the dated comps, and some of those were the most comparable to the subject property in regards to condition and size. Respondent was also asked to comment on why the MLS data was wrong in regards to comparable 2, showing it had a 3-car garage when in fact it was a 2-car garage. Respondent also corrected the typo for the sales price of comparable 4 from $149,900 to $148,900. After adding the comps and considering all of the comparables that the appraised value would be $125,000. Respondent was never told by the lender that he had to include the additional comparable or asked to lower the appraised value, and he feels very comfortable with the value. A few days after that report was uploaded, the lender uploaded a contract addendum signed by both parties for $125,000. Revised report number 3 reflects the updated sales price. The price was never changed to $125,000 in the report prior to receiving the signed contract addendum that the seller agreed to, so the accusation from him that respondent changed the sales price on the report prior to receiving the signed sales contract is false. All of the reports dated prior to March 12th reflect the original sales price of $139,900. The reviewer's conclusions are listed here, so just take a second and let me know when you're ready.
All right, has everyone had a chance to read over the facts in this case? All right, having done so, do we want to start with discussion, or are y'all ready to make a motion? Let's go ahead and have a motion. Dr. McCara moves to accept. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Johnston. Is there any discussion?
I have a question, please. I'm sorry. This individual has already received a consent order prior, sometime for a 30-hour general sales comparison?
Correct, sir. And it looks like from the disciplinary history, it was around 2011.
Did the respondent reply to the reviewer's comments?
No, if they're not listed there, then that means that they didn't respond to the reviewers' conclusions.
Further discussion? Go ahead and put it to vote. All those in favor of accepting council's recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, and the motion carries.
Okay, item 5, 2015012-161's complaint was filed by a consumer and alleged that respondent undervalued a property by using a lower value per square foot. The complaint alleged there were 6 comparables ranging from $174 per square foot to $254 per square foot, yet the appraiser valued complainant's home at $109 per square foot. And on this one, the reviewer's conclusions are listed along with the respondent's response to those. I didn't list the respondent's response to the complaint because there were a lot of similar things. The response to the complaint was a great deal shorter, so I just included it all in the response to the reviewer's conclusions because those are very lengthy. So.
Has everyone had a chance to read the information on this case? All right, is there any initial discussion, or are we ready to, is someone ready to make a motion? No discussion, is there a motion? All right, we have a motion from Dr. McCara to accept. Is
I'll
there-
second it.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 6, 2015013361. This complaint was filed by a consumer and alleged that respondent did not report mold and mud in the basement and that there are significant structural issues. Piers are sitting on wood rather than cement. There's a great deal of debris on the ground, which is a breeding ground for termites. The complaint alleges that he hired a mold inspector and 2 contractors to come look at the basement, and all agreed that respondent did not do his job well. Respondent sent a response stating the subject was appraised and inspected as indicated in the scope of work as requested by his client, who is the mortgage company. As of the effective date of the appraisal, the cellar crawl space appeared to be adequate, but this is from an appraiser and not a home inspector. Respondent stated that as an appraiser, he is valuation expert. The appraiser does not operate all of the electrical, plumbing, and/or mechanical systems. The appraiser merely observes and does not fully inspect the foundation, floor system, subfloor, roof system, or other structural components. Only a head and shoulders inspection was done, which is required by HUD. The appraiser is not an expert in construction methods and materials. Unless otherwise reported, the subject improvements appeared to be in compliance with zoning, local codes, and generally accepted construction materials and methods. The appraiser makes an economic evaluation of the subject property. Reviewer's conclusions are listed here. And looks like the respondent did respond to those conclusions in this matter, so just take a minute and let me know when you're ready for it.
Bless you.
I'm allergic to you, Tim.
Nothing. All right, has everyone had a chance to read the facts in this case? All right. Do we have a motion?
Could I ask you a question first, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
I think that the reviewer, as is appropriate when, beyond just the initial complaint and looked at use pattern. But I wanted to ask, because I'm not an appraiser, and I wanted to ask the people who are appraisers, the respondents' statements about, this is beyond my work as an appraiser, that this is really something that falls into the category of being a home inspector. Is that, was he or she appropriate in making that statement? Something that the appraiser should have been knowledgeable of.
In general, appraisers are not called to be home inspectors, but there is a minimal level of inspection required, and there are issues relating to termites that FHA requires to be addressed.
One of my questions would be, what sort of conversation, so to speak, is there between the inspector and the appraiser? Because if there are, real foundational issues with the with the property itself, should the appraiser not have that information and make
Per FHA guidelines, if there's a home inspection done, they should provide the home inspection to the appraiser. But I didn't see anything in here that said there was an actual home inspection done prior to the appraisal. Reading between the lines, it's my impression that the buyer didn't get a home inspection, probably went forward with the purchase, and then ran into problems and had contractors come back out who found the problems, and they're addressing, I read the comments, where he said that the appraiser didn't do a good job. Well, they're not appraisers. How can they judge the appraiser? They're contractors.
Right. That's what I was wondering. I mean, is the appraiser responsible for something that's not in his or her area of expertise, and then, in retrospect, saying, oh, well, there were issues here that an inspector found, but again, if that's not part of the appraiser's expected knowledge, then how can we hold the
Correct, and
appraiser
every
responsible for that?
Every FHA loan, if they're addressing FHA guidelines here, every FHA loan packet has a comment to the homeowner notifying them in bold print to have a home inspection done.
Most E&O companies will tell you, don't write the word mold in your report. I don't care. Throws on you, don't put mold, there seems to be a substance, and it doesn't make any comment in either the reviewer or the appraisal's report. Suggests a home inspection, suggests a termite inspection, suggests somebody in the mold profession come in. So seems to be a real controversy here. You are the appraiser and the homeowner, but for the complaint, where it says the appraiser didn't report mold, I don't think he's supposed to report mold.
I guess my question then would be, did council take that into consideration in the recommendations that council made? Well, in other words, when you were looking at the big picture here and making a recommendation with regard to a penalty and so forth, was that taken into account, or was council more looking at the broader violations of use PAP in this particular complaint?
I normally just look at the broader because I'm also not an appraiser, so it's hard for me to hone in on specifics. Like the question that you ask is also something I feel like I learned something from, so that's good. And I didn't get the indication from the file that there was a home inspection.
No, and I'm an FHA appraiser also. I've done them. There is a higher level of responsibility when an appraiser accepts an FHA assignment. They do expect the appraiser to make a higher effort to view readily accessible areas, that would include the crawl space, basement areas, the attic, and look for signs of defects or damage to the home. But they don't expect them to be a home inspector. They just want to make sure that the security of their loan is secure. So there's like a whole checklist in the 4150.2 of what an appraiser has to check. And there were a few troubling responses in here where he kind of, he's like, it might be a coal thing. He made some troubling responses, like he didn't know what it is. And if you'd been there, you should know what it is. If you looked at it, you'd know if it was a crawl space or a basement or a coal thing. He didn't really definitively go, I know what it is because I was there. And I don't know, as an appraiser, I generally take a picture of what I see. But he's required to head and shoulders go into that crawl space and look to see if there's water accumulating or some kind of damage. And
It's got to be, if it's an FHA, it's got to be a photograph of the crawl space or what.
currently you actually do have to, but I don't know exactly what the date on this appraisal is off the top of my head, but
Of course, I'll-
there's just a few troubling responses, I thought, in his response to this complaint where he sort of kind of went, I should know, I want to know, I might, it might be. It's like, you should know what it is.
Thank you, that's very helpful.
I would say, a lot of times there are a lot of gray areas and stuff that we see when we're out there appraising. And you can't see everything from the
Right.
crawl space opening. And by golly, I'm not required to crawl in that thing, and I'm not going to. I think, something I didn't see in here, which I think would be a big clue as to what this area they're talking about, would be how do you access it? If you can access it from inside the house, it's probably some sort of a cellar. But if you can only access it from the crawl space, then it's probably just a crawl space.
Can an appraiser recommend, or would it be beyond his or her authority to do so, to say, I think you need a home inspector to look at this property?
If there's any sign of unfavorable characteristics, one who actually makes the requirement is the underwriter.
I realize it might be just a matter of verbiage or semantics, but the homeowner doesn't know whether they have a basement or a crawl space. Because they comment,
They called
there's
it
mud in
something
the
else.
basement, and the appraiser, it's obviously says it's a crawl space. It might just be the homeowner not knowing the difference
Right,
in
and-
using
and-
a word.
And a dirt floor. Sounds like they may have just dug a hole in the crawl space. Who knows?
I agree with what Mr. Johnstone said a while ago. It sounds like they bought the house and then found the problem.
Yeah.
Now they're looking for somebody to dump it on.
Right. So where we stand right now, I think, do we have a motion?
No. No, I raised the question before a motion was
Okay.
made.
For discussion, are we ready to move forward with a motion?
I don't think it's appropriate for me to make a motion. I don't know enough about this. I would really.
At this point, the legal has made their recommendation. If we've got a recommendation or a motion from the commission,
Oh, you've seen this appraisal apparently. Is it an FHA appraisal?
Yes.
Then I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we only, we execute a consent order with the 7-hour FHA course. Other than the fine and the 30-hour, personally, I don't see a need in that. I don't see where the guy I think he's defended himself okay. So that would be my motion, that we just have a.
Clarification, you're recommending everything except the $500?
No, I'm only recommending a 7-hour FHA course.
Right,
Yeah,
okay. But
Well, fine.
no cash penalty?
no.
Okay.
Or the 30-hour course, I don't see a.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Thomas, seconded by Commissioner Johnston. Is there any further discussion? John Stone. Is there any further discussion? All right, we'll go forward with a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 7, 2015-014-891. This complaint was filed by a consumer and alleged that respondent undervalued a condominium. Complainant alleged that respondent admitted in his appraisal documents that he based his appraisal mostly on the basis of a condo similar to complainant's that sold slightly prior to complainant's appraisal. Unfortunately, respondent did not bother to find out that the property he used as a comparison had been owned by an elderly lady who did not have the finances to upgrade her condo. Complainant alleged respondent used incorrect square footage, reported the number of condos in the association incorrectly, never checked for leaks, completely missed the laundry area, a walk-in closet, and a second full bath. Complainant also alleged that respondent indicated that the complex had made no improvements, even though the association has put on 5 new roofs, and completely painted the complex and upgraded the landscaping. Respondent sent a response stating the MLS shows the comparable property exterior and interior in similar condition to the subject. It is identical in size and shares a common wall. Respondent stated the subject property was measured at the time of inspection and measurements are correct. Respondent stated he used tax records to obtain condominium information. Respondent stated that he inspected the home according to the requirements of HUD. Due to the subject size and not having a crawl space or attic, the inspection did not take as long as typical inspections. The appraiser inspected several homes the same day and called the complainant to verify bathroom count. The comparable sales supported the appraised value. Respondent put more weight in the identical condo located next to the subject property with no adjustments and in similar condition. However, comparable sales number 1 and number 3 are similar in age and design and support a value of $90,000 also. Respondent is unaware of past appraised value. The reviewer found no violations of USPAP when conducting the review of respondent's appraisal. On reading the appraisal, it appears the square footage reported varies somewhat from the tax records. However, the footage difference is minimal. The appraisal states that the property has 2 bathrooms, although the property sketch does not include a notation of the second bath. The appraisal adjustment grid allows for the bathroom difference. The credibility of the adjustments and the report appear to meet USPAP standards and no violations are indicated. As such, council recommends the matter be closed with no further action.
All right, you've heard council's recommendation. Is there a motion?
Move to accept.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Dr. McCara, second by Commissioner Thomas. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move forward to the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion carries.
Item 8, 2015-015-971. This complaint was filed by a consumer and alleged that respondent supervisor falsely reported the size of the property and never used the proper legal description of the property, and that was on factor listed as to the loss of a lawsuit over land discrepancy. Respondent sent a response stating this complaint is from an appraisal report that was completed for a sale which transferred June 4th, 2004, per courthouse records. Respondent stated he does not have the information from this appraisal assignment as he is only required to keep records and the corresponding work file for 5 to 7 years per USPAP requirements. Considering completeness, adequacy, credibility, etc., the reviewer found no issues with conformance to USPAP. Due to the age of the work, the appraiser does not have the appraisal or work file regarding this matter. The complainant provided a copy of a portion of the appraisal that was obtained from the lender. The reviewer checked the presented information, house description, and comparable data against the historical public records, and the information presented appears to be correct. As such, council recommends this matter be closed with no further action.
All right, you have heard the facts in the case and council's recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion to Approve council's recommendation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson and a second by Commissioner John Stone. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, go to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And the motion to accept carries.
92015004791. This complaint was filed by an appraisal management company and alleged that respondent's report included inaccurate or misleading subject improvements description, inappropriate comparable cell selection, and inaccurate reconciliation of value. The appraisal report was revised and resubmitted to the AMC approximately 6 times. Reviewer's conclusions are listed there. Respondent also provided a response to those conclusions, so just take a minute to look at that and then we'll do the recommendation.
All right, has everyone had an opportunity to read the facts in this case? Let's go ahead and hear your recommendation.
Respondent's been a certified residential appraiser for 8 years with no prior disciplinary action. Such counsel recommends this matter be closed with a letter of caution regarding future appraisals.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Johnstone to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. McCara. Any discussion?
I want to make one comment, if I can.
Commissioner Thomas.
Just for the gentleman who I interviewed this morning, I just want to read you one thing. Under reviewer's conclusion, highest and best use, the appraisal reports and reflects the highest and best use, but offers no support for his conclusion. That's what we talked about this morning.
Any other discussion related to this case? All right, I think we're ready to go to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none. Commission accepts council's recommendation.
Item 10, 2015-007731. Complaint was filed by a consumer and alleged that respondent overlooked items that should have been focused on during his inspection, which caused the complainant financial loss. Also, the complainant stated there were more comparable sales available that could have been used instead of the inadequate ones used by respondent. Respondent stated he is approved on the FHA panel and conducted the inspection in accordance with standard operating procedure for a USDA rural development appraisal. He stated the property required some repairs to meet the required standards, and he noted the property had only one bedroom instead of the two advertised on the listing brief. He indicated all required repairs were digitally imaged with appraiser comments within the body of the report. He indicated he completed the report assuming completion of the repairs required to meet lending requirements. He indicated he appraised the property for $110,000 with an effective date of November 3rd, 2014, and a report date of November 6, 2014, and submitted the report to his client. He indicated the property was listed for $124,900 and under contract as a two-bedroom home, and the contract included $5,500 in seller-paid concessions. He indicated the property closed for $110,000 on February 4th, 2015. He indicated on November 19th, 2014, the underwriter emailed a series of questions submitted by the son of the seller who had reviewed the appraisal. These questions included one about the subject improvements being less than 80 feet from the portable public water main, and the estimate by the listing agent exceeded 3% by $175, and the subject well water was only 92 feet from the septic tank. The final cost to install was reported to be under $1,000. He indicated that the review done by the son of the seller, which was the basis of the complaint against him, was not performed by a HUD-qualified reviewer. The reviewer's conclusions are listed there, and just take a second and then we'll have the recommendation.
All right, has everyone had a chance to read the facts on this case? All right, Ms. Gamber, would you go ahead and give us your recommendation?
Council recommends the matter be closed with a letter of caution regarding future appraisals.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I move we recommend council's recommendation.
Second.
A motion to accept council's recommendation by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Johnstone.
I want to make one note to the record that under, they've been an appraiser since 1991 in 13 years with no disciplinary history. Was there some kind of disciplinary, or was that just a typo? Should it be?
More than 13 years.
Oh, well,
Oops.
sometimes you can't add, I guess. Sorry, that's a typo.
What should it be? 23 years?
Yeah, it looks like it's supposed to be 23. I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. That's why I'm
point
an
is that-
attorney and not like an accountant or a mathematician.
I was trying to help counsel out there.
I know, and I
Or an
appreciate
economist.
it. I
Not only have they been
appreciate it.
good for
Yes,
13 years, they've been
Not
good for
really in the
23
supply and
years.
demand, like,
But the point is that this person has never had any disciplinary actions.
correct. The point is there's just no disciplinary history in,
And this person has
Yeah.
been an appraiser for a very long time.
yes.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the commission accepts council's recommendation.
Okay, item 11, 2015-018-111. The complaint was filed by a consumer and alleged that respondent was extremely unprofessional and that he and respondent engaged in an argument when the appraisal was not delivered in a timely fashion. Complainant alleged respondent had a police officer escort him to complainant's house to deliver the appraisal report to complainant's mailbox because he felt threatened, and complainant found this to be completely unnecessary. Respondent sent a response stating the arguments did take place between he and complainant regarding the delivery of the appraisal. Respondent stated that it is not his practice as an appraiser to call clients every day to give them an update on their particular file, as he typically does not talk to them until he has the appraisal completed. Respondent then calls the client to let them know the appraised value and to find out how to get the report to them, whether through email or regular mail. Respondent admits that there were a few miscommunications regarding the delivery of the appraisal, but that it did not warrant the threats and threatening phone calls made by complainant. Respondent claimed at one point that the appraisal had already been emailed to complainant, it was just the hard copy that had not yet been delivered, and complainant still continued to threaten. The recommendation is that this matter be closed with no further action.
All right, you've heard the case and council's recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Dr. McCara, second by Commissioner Thomas. Do we need any discussion, or are we ready to go to vote?
Go to vote.
All right, let's go to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And commission accepts council's recommendation on the last item in the legal report. All right, I think we're approaching the end here. Is there any new business from the director?
I included a couple of additional pieces of documentation for your reading pleasure. One was Larry Disney's report from the Industry Advisory Council, and one was a letter that was distributed by the Appraisal Foundation. You don't have any to vote on it or anything. It was just sort of for your reading pleasure. And with that, I conclude my report to the commission.
Hearing no new business, call.
I've got a question about the October meeting. There was an email sent out indicating that there may or may not be needed. What's the pleasure of the body, I guess, is my question.
October meeting.
Yeah, seeing as how this meeting was delayed, we'd be having the October meeting scheduled for less than a month away. And there is an Aero conference that some of the members will be attending shortly after that time. I'd entertain a motion to cancel the October meeting, if anyone's so inclined.
I'll make a motion to cancel the October meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner John Stone seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. October meeting will be canceled. Any further new business? Any more items for discussion? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Commissioner Thomas makes the motion to adjourn. Any second? Second by Dr. McCara. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. We stand adjourned.